Here's why I want to do this. When you start to acknowledge your vision is your why. It's it's why you're going to get out of bed. It's why you're going to do what you're going to do. It's why you're going to push through the hard. It's why you're going to keep being faithful. It's why you're going to move through the lie. It's your why. But there's going to become a day where that why still doesn't feel like it allows you to get out of bed. Or that why you're going to be in a moment and you're going to be in your kitchen and you're still going to feel insecure. Or you're going to wake up tomorrow and you're going to find yourself at your desk with your computer getting ready to work and you can still feel the anxiety. And no matter how many times you say this thing over and over and over again, and how many times you're meditating on it over and over and over again, I found myself still having days that I could not connect it from head to heart. Many days that I could, many days that I was walking in it, many days that I was feeling it, but I started to recognize that there was still the gap in I don't want to get out of bed, and I don't like that I don't want to get out of bed, right? Or how many of you, again, it's that fake it till you make it, and so you're at your computer doing the thing, but you just feel like you're faking it. And so what I really want to bring us into tonight is a deeper understanding, like a real life understanding of faith. But another word for faith is conviction. The conviction is the word that I love, and it is ultimately where we're going to land tonight. Is what is your conviction? What is your burn? What do you stand for? But I really want to use the word faith tonight because I fear that faith has become something that has been watered down. Right? Faith is something, even the house that we stayed at this weekend, there was faith on like every wall. There was a room called faith, hope, love, and faith, walk by faith, not by sight. There's all these words on faith. And sometimes I feel like, again, it can start to become so much of a word that it's not a lifestyle. And so what I want to invite us into tonight is a lifestyle of faith, not a word of faith. And so I'm actually going to use that word faith more than I am conviction. But for the sake of the exercise and for the sake of the book and for the sake of those of you who went to conference, same, right? Because in the Bible, it says that faith is the evidence of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Same. But I'm going to use that word because I just want it to rattle our comfort zone a little bit. I fear that when we hear that word faith, that we don't feel rattled enough because we've just watered it down. We're just so used to it. How many of you love your hubby or you love your wife, but you sometimes just take them for granted? Or you love the people that are in your life, but it's just so easy to take them for granted. I fear that it's just easy to take faith for granted. And if we're actually walking in faith, it will rattle us. It will vibrate our beings. It will be the thing that causes us to feel alive. And you've heard me say this a million times, but it's when we're walking in faith that's when it's like, that the fire that we're wanting is in the work that we're avoiding. When we're walking in faith, you are spot on with that fire, with that burn. You are feeling alive. And so I'm going to start in the book of Hebrews chapter 3. And to Susan's point, when she says, how does all of this work together? Or when you can consider that visual, the visual is designed to help you understand when you're in the wrong lane. And you're like, but what do I do when I'm in the wrong lane? Shift. Everyone say shift. I did say shift. It's an F. There is an F in that word, shift. Okay. Hebrews 3. Hebrews chapter 3, verse 7. If only you would listen to his voice this day. Don't make him angry by hardening your hearts like your ancestors did during the days of their rebellion when they were tested in the wilderness. There your fathers tested me and tried my patience. Even though they saw my miracles for 40 years, they still doubted me. How many of us have seen miracles? How many of us have God has intervened in our life? How many of us have had a Garth Brooks moment where we're like, thank God for unanswered prayers? How many of you are in the middle of one that you're not quite thanking him yet? because you haven't seen that miracle, right? That's all so fair. But the reality is, just like the people of the wilderness, it is so easy for us when we're in the wilderness or when we're in those in-betweens or when we haven't landed on the pot of gold to do exactly what this is suggesting, which is, even though we've seen miracles, He's done the impossible in our lives. He's done the impossible in other people's lives. He's brought us to where we are. He's brought us through thick and thin and good and bad. We still doubted. This ignited my anger with that generation, and I said about them, they wander in their hearts just like they do with their feet. They wander in their hearts just like they do with their feet. And they refuse to learn my ways. My heart grieved over them, so I decreed they will never enter into the calming rest of my spirit. Here was what I would like to propose. If we are not walking in the calming rest of the spirit, it's not because it's not who He is, it's because we're still partnered with doubt. What is doubt? There's a difference between doubt and fear. Fear, already decided, I'm afraid. Fear is, there is a shark in the swimming pool, like, period. Like, I am that girl. I believe sharks are in swimming pools. Like, I'll jump in and all of a sudden it's like, dun 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 dun, right? Like, I'm afraid. You couldn't convince me. You'd be like, Julia, that is a 4-foot swimming pool and it is like crystal clear water. I'd be like, I don't care. I see there is a shark, and the minute I jump in, it will come out from the drain and it will eat me. That's fear. I'm already decided, and there's nothing that you can do about it to talk me out of my fear. Doubt is different. Doubt is the, I believe. No, I don't. I think I believe. Maybe I believe. I believe on good days. I believe on easy days. I believe when everything's going my way. Do I believe? I don't know. I don't understand the question. Doubt is undecided belief. It's undecided belief. And so, what I want to bring to our attention today is that if we were to pick one, I would actually prefer you to be in a place of doubt, but I want it to be conscious doubt. Why? Because if I'm already walking in fear, I'm already decided. If I'm in doubt, it's an opportunity to choose, what do I believe? This is the power of faith. This will be the power of landing on your conviction, is that every single moment of every single day, especially when we're in wilderness seasons, if we look at the Israelites as an example, that liminal space of when I'm still going from where I was to where God is leading me, the dream and my reality, the prophecy and the fulfillment of the prophecy, there's going to be many years in our life where that great hallway, that great in between, the wilderness is very apparent in my life. And so what we have to recognize is that doubt is really just going to be par for the course. However, I don't need to turn my doubt into fear, and I don't want to stay wavering in my doubt for very long. Doubt is just an invitation to ask, oh, what do I believe here? And will I allow my heart to wander just as my feet are going to wander? Or will I let this moment carve within my heart truth rather than the lie? If we're believing truth, then we can enter into His calming rest of His spirit. It says, so search your hearts every day. That means take care. When it says search your hearts every day, it means take care of your heart every single day. So to Cindy's point, when she says, basically, are you suggesting that we should be meditating on this vision every day, all day long? All day long, especially in hard times. I had someone on Instagram the other day. We had invited him to one of our Dare to Dream experiences, and she goes, well, you obviously don't know my life very well. I mean, I'm going through the worst time ever. Why would you ask me into this invitation of dreaming? And I was like, you obviously don't understand what it means. No offense. She goes, I don't understand what means. I said, you obviously don't understand what a dream is, because you don't just have a dream to make you feel good. You have a dream that pulls you through the hardest of times. I need a vision to pull me through the wilderness. I need something bigger than me when I feel the smallest. I need something real when everything feels fake. I need something true when I'm up against mountains of facts. So it says, search your hearts every day. Take care of your hearts every day, my brothers and sisters, and make sure that none of you has evil or unbelief hiding within you, for it will lead you astray. And it will make you unresponsive to the living God. This is the time to encourage each other. Actually, that word encourage means to warn each other, to never be stubborn or hardened by sin's deceitfulness. Sin's deceitfulness is the ability to be self-deceived. This is why we have to understand not only the attacks of the enemy and what he's doing, but the specific lie that he has on our life. Not so we're walking around so mindful of it, but because so we can be aware of of us not falling into our own self-deceptive patterns. Some of us, that neural pathway is so large and in charge in the brain that the enemy doesn't have to do anything. He's like, do you, baby? You do you. You've been practicing for this so long. I don't even have to like tempt you until today, until we have all of this other information. But what he's saying is encourage each other, warn each other. That's why we have our triggers, especially in relationships. If I see Susan getting controlling, I used to say, hey, Susan, that's just the way that she is, like, no big deal. Now I can go, hey, Susan, are you okay today? She'll go, why? Yeah, why are you asking me that? Well, you are behaving a little bit controlling, and that's not who you are. Immediately, I get to call her into greatness. Immediately, I could say to Renee, go, hey, Renee, you seem to be avoiding my calls. She's like, no, I'm not avoiding my calls. I'm like, yeah. So I've called you 17 times, and I'm just wondering, like, I don't think that that's who you are. Are you open for some feedback, right? Or can you help me understand what lane you're in? The idea here is when we're in community doing this work, it helps us to warn each other. But listen to this. If you skip down to verse 15, if only today you would listen to his voice, do not make him angry by hardening your hearts as you did in the wilderness rebellion. We used to harden our hearts when we were in our limiting belief. So what you will be learning now is to stay open before the Lord. The lie caused every single one of us to shut down before God. And though you still may not have this practice down to the point that you don't shut down in front of humanity, the goal here is that you're not shutting down before the Lord and that you're learning to, even in the hard places, stay open.